na mga ka-addict. This is the Votol EM50-4 Controller. It's a Sine wave controller, can be used with 48 volts to 72 volts battery. Let's start. These are the battery terminals. B plus is the positive and the B minus is the negative. On the other side of the controller are the motor phase wire terminals. U is for blue motor phase wire, V is for the green motor phase wire, and the W is for yellow motor phase wire. This is the old sensor. There are 5 wires. Black, red, blue, green, and yellow. The black wire is the ground and the red wire is the 5 volts positive. Do not reverse connect the black wire and the red wire. These wires are for the alarm kit. The black and the red wire are for the power supply. These wires are linked directly to the battery that delivers high voltage to the alarm kit. And these are the signal wires for the alarm kit. This is the alarm kit. It's compatible with 36 volts to 72 volts electric scooter. The voltage rating of the alarm kit is referring to the scooter battery voltage, meaning this alarm kit will work on scooter that has 36 volts, 48 volts, 60 volts, and 72 volts battery. Just simply connect the wire connectors and that's it. Now, all these wires have different functionalities. If it's your first time to see these wires, you may find it complicated, and that's normal. You will learn these wires as you go on through this video. This purple wire with color gray stripe is the electric lock. These are the 3-speed wires, black wire, green wire with white stripe, and black wire with white stripe. These two are the reverse wires, black wire and the gray wire with white stripe. Next are the low brake wires, black wire and the black wire with color gray stripe. Sport mode wires, black wire and the yellow wire with white stripe. Now, these are the throttle wires, black, pink, and green wires. These 4 wires are for the programming cable wire. You will need these wires when connecting to a computer. This purple one is the high brake wire. This white wire is the speedometer line wire. And lastly, these are the self-learning wires, color black wire and the brown wire with white stripe. Alright, let's do the wiring. Remove the bolts from the controller motor phase terminals. Keep aside and careful not to lose the bolts. You will notice there are letters right below the terminals. These are guides which color is for each terminal. In Votol Controller, W is for yellow motor phase wire, V is for green motor phase wire, and U is for blue motor phase wire. These are the phase wires and the Hall sensor wires coming from the hub motor. There are 6 motor phase wires. I have the LD hub motor that has 2 cable wires coming from both sides of the shaft. One from the left side of the shaft and another one from the right side. Time to install the phase wires. These 2 yellow phase wires are for the terminal W. The 2 green phase wires are for the terminal V. Make sure to tighten enough the bolts for strong and reliable connection. Now the 2 blue phase wires are for the terminal U. Now let's move on to the battery positive and negative input terminals. This is the positive and this is the negative terminal. Remember that B plus is the positive terminal and the B minus is the negative terminal. I prepared an extension cable wire with a breaker. It has XT90 male connector partnered with 10 gauge silicone wire. This type of wires can resist high temperatures. This breaker is rated 72 volts 60 amp. It's ideal to use breaker for safety purposes. This breaker also provides extra function. It could be the main switch for your electric scooter. When it comes to wiring, color black is usually for the negative line and the color red is for the positive line. Leave the extension cable wires disconnected and ensure to turn off the breaker while performing or doing the wire connections for safety purposes. Always make sure to tighten enough the bolts to achieve reliable connections. Avoid loose connections as this can cause overheating of the wires and the terminals. This is the whole sensor from the hub motor. And this is the whole sensor from the controller. Remember not to reverse connect the black and the red wire. The black wire is the ground and the red wire is the 5 volts positive. Blue, green, and the yellow are the whole wires. Since these two connectors are not compatible to each other, I provided a conversion plug-in adapter. This adapter is perfect for these two different connectors. Next is the throttle. The pink wire is the 5 volts positive, green wire is the signal, and the black wire is the negative or ground. I will use this thumb throttle for this tutorial. Black wire is the ground, red wire is the 5 volts positive, and the blue wire is the signal. Connect the two black wires, then connect the red wire to the pink wire, and the blue wire to the green wire. From the thumb throttle, black wire to black, blue wire to green, and red wire to pink. Now let's wire the electric clock of the controller. This purple wire with color gray stripe is the electric clock. To activate the controller, the electric clock should be connected to the main power positive line wire, which is directly connected to the battery. Temporarily, I will use the alligator clip to show you how the electric lock works. I will connect the alligator clip to the electric lock, and the other clip will go to the main power positive terminal, which is linked to the battery. Now, time to connect the battery. And turn on the breaker. The controller is now activated. Next, I will show you how to connect a key ignition switch kit to this controller. The key ignition switch kit has 3 wires, black, red, and green. The black wire of the key ignition switch kit goes to the main power negative terminal, which is linked directly to the battery, while the green wire goes to the main power positive terminal. These two are the battery terminals, and the red wire of the switch kit goes to the electric lock. The key ignition switch kit is connected properly and the controller is activated. This is the 3-speed line. It has 3 wires. The black wire in the middle is the ground, the green wire with white stripe is the gear 1, and the black wire with white stripe is the gear 3. I prepared this connector for easy demonstration. The ground wire is linked to the alligator clip. The black wire with white stripe is linked to the gray wire. And the green wire with white stripe is linked to the green wire. At this moment, the motor is spinning in gear 2 by default, since the ground wire is not connected to any of the two wires. Once the ground wire is connected to the green wire with white stripe, the speed will decrease. That is gear 1. You will also notice the sound of the spinning motor become less louder. Same goes to gear 3. Connect the ground wire to the black wire with white stripe, then the motor will run in gear 3. The sound of the spinning motor will get more louder. The moment you disconnect the ground, the motor will go back to default speed, and that is gear 2. This is the sport mode line. There is color black wire, that is the ground, and a color yellow wire with white stripe. To activate the sport mode, you need to connect the ground wire to the yellow wire with white stripe. The motor is currently spinning in default speed or in gear 2. Once the ground wire is connected to the yellow wire with white stripe, the sport mode is activated. Basically, the sport mode will give quicker throttle response and increase the speed. If the sport mode is activated, the 3-speed line is not going to work. These are the self-learning wires. There is the ground color black wire and a brown wire with white stripe. This is used to change the direction of the motor. As you can see, the motor rotates or spins backward. To make the motor spin in forward direction, you need to use the self-learning wires. First, turn off the controller. Then, connect the self-learning wires. After connecting self-learning wires, turn on the controller. The motor will turn slowly in the direction being programmed. Turn off the controller once again and disconnect the self-learning wires. Turn the power on, hit the throttle. Now the motor is turning or spinning in forward direction. This is the reverse line. The black wire is the ground, the gray wire with white stripe is the reverse wire. To make this function activate, you need to connect the ground wire to the gray wire with white stripe. You can see the motor is spinning in forward direction. Once you connect the ground wire to the gray wire with white stripe, the motor will spin in backward direction. This purple wire is the high brake. To activate the high brake, you need to connect 12 volts. You will need a DC to DC converter. This white wire is the speedometer line. And lastly, this is the low brake line. The black wire is the ground. To activate the low brake, the ground wire must be connected to the black wire with gray stripe. Take note, all the black wires are common ground. I will be making a separate video for the low and high brake wires, as well as the speedo line wire. Also, the program setting will be in a separate video. Shoutout nga pala kay Mark Daniel Cifra, Repa Pips Vlog from Italy. Maraming salamat sa walang sawang suporta. At shoutout din kay Raymond Master.Mon12 from Dagupan City, Pangasinan. All the way from Doha, Qatar. Si Unggoy lagi lang naka-idle mode, madalang ko na magamit. Maraming salamat sa support ka, Adik. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to support my channel by liking, commenting, and sharing all my videos. At syempre, maraming salamat. Muli kayong naligaw sa channel ko. Ride safe lang palagi, mga ka-adik.